Hi everyone, welcome to An Hour with LawSikho. And today we are going to talk about how to do long-term internships, how to get them, and how to manage your college life along with long-term internships. This topic is based on a lot of requests that we have been receiving over the last month or so. Many people wanted this. We keep talking about how internships can make a huge difference in your career, and so then naturally people want to know, more about how do you do rolling internships and how it impacts your studies, and there are a lot of apprehensions about how to manage a rolling internship and how to do well in such internships. So today we have got with us somebody who has been doing rolling internships, and usually we have very senior people in these talks, but today we got somebody who's fresh out of college and just started practice and can share a very fresh perspective on what is going on actually, how the law firms are looking at long-term interns. What, like, we needed a fresh perspective from somebody. So we have with us Prachi Nirwan, who's going to tell us about her experience of doing long-term internships and how she has leveraged these things into building her career and how it is going for her. So welcome to the An Hour with LawSikho, Prachi.
Hi. Hello everyone. I'm Prachi, and I'll be sharing my experience with all of you regarding the running internships I have been doing so far. Like, law school has been a roller coaster ride. All these 5 years, you will be, grinded down to death. But then the key is not to give up and be determined. Like, carve your paths, and the key is literally never to give up. Like, 5 years of law school will literally push you down, crush you sometimes. Like, you'll think to give up, but never do that. And just keep your focus determined intact, and I guess you'll be just fine. So that's that. And so I'll be
So
talking about running internships today.
So, before anything else, you tell us about yourself, like share your academic and professional background so far.
Okay. So I have recently graduated in 2018 from Symbiosis Law School, Noida, and I have just joined a law chamber, and I'm practicing criminal law under in that chamber, and I have been working for a month now, and like, we pretty much practice everywhere in the Delhi district, all the Delhi district courts and high court and everything. And like, with respect to internships, I have had done almost everything. Like, you call it an NGO. Uh, I've also interned in a law firm before that, Fox Mandal, and then I have also worked for an in-house Hindustan Times, and then I've also worked under senior advocates like Mrs. Pinky Anand. She's presently the Additional Solicitor General of India, and then I worked under Mr. KDS Tulsi, who is also a senior advocate. And then after that, like, for all these 3 years, I did that, and then I decided that, like, taking grasp of everything that I could do in those 3 years of time. And then I had, gave it a thought, okay, like, what should I do? So my mind was going almost towards litigation. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to the courts. I wanted to, for, that the I wanted to argue before a judge and do almost everything. And that happened, and I joined the Chamber of Advocate-on-Record Supreme Court, Mrs. Mayuri Raghuvanshi. So I worked there for almost 1.5 to 2 years, and after that, college ended, and I always had that thing for criminal law. I was working under her, worked for. She was into civil laws pretty much. So I worked under her, and then I realized that, okay, I have to go ahead with criminal laws and everything. So I recently joined a criminal law practitioner. So that's pretty much it. 5 years of law.
What is your experience with respect to getting internships? So one thing I see that you have been consistently doing a lot of different internships. in different kinds of places. So, what's the secret of getting internships these days? Because mostly people say it's very hard to get internships, and I think I understand when when I was in law school, for example, that was a good what 8 to 10 years back when I was applying for internships. Back then, I think getting internship was much easier. We felt at that time it was hard, but it wasn't really, because right now, like back then, most of the law colleges students from different law colleges weren't even applying for internships, right? Only national law school students, national law university students used to apply. Maybe a few Symbiosis and Amity, a very few uh, law colleges students still bothered to intern, and rest of them would not intern. And naturally, the availability of internships was much higher. You did not, like these days we hear stories from HR managers in law firms that they are getting 70,000 emails a month for internships. And like this is a tier one law firm, of course, and others, even like in IP leaders itself, we get like 400, 500 emails in a month for interns for internship. And it is very difficult for anybody to actually humanly go through all these emails and apply their mind and think whose CV you're going to select. So I think fundamentally the way you get internships has changed. So how did you manage to get internships? What was the experience?
See, uh, I am a first generation lawyer and I didn't know anything about law as such, like nothing at all. And how to get internship was like, you know, it was the toughest job in the world. Like where to get those internships from, like how to go to the court, like what to do, what's the next step. Okay, I've got the law school, what's the next step? So see, that problem was being tackled by our law school though, thanks to the training and placement cell at that point of time. Like when I joined law school, we pretty much had everything covered up by the training placement cell, and we had orientations at that point of time. So the training and placement cell told us everything about internships, like what are internships, how to get them. So basically what we used to do at that point of time, we used to apply for college, and sometimes you would apply on your own. You get to know about other people who are in the field, you talk to them and all of that. But see, for me it was little problematic in the beginning. However, thanks to contacts, those are the saviors. So like my father is a journalist, so he knows a lot of people that ways. So I had got through him only. But then, see, many people consider, okay, there's no merit, there's no, way, nobody weighs merit these days. Everything, contacts take over merits and all. But then the thing is that if you have merit and then you have the contacts, it's like the cherry on the cake. So thankfully, I had both of them. At that point of time, I believed that I had both of them. So I applied, like getting through a senior advocate, getting internships through a senior advocate, it's a bit difficult, to be very honest. And unless you get a contact, you're not going. And on merit, I would like to quote an example here. Like when I was working under Mr. KDS Tulsi, I really remember this. A co-intern of mine was a fifth year law student at that point of time, and I was in my third year of law school. So I had applied through a contact there, and I had gotten the internship in like 2 days. But then this friend of mine, she was applying for 2 years. Mind you, she was applying for 2 years and still didn't get it. And for 2.5 years, when she literally came down, to fifth year and was about to end her fifth year of law school, she landed up in that chamber. Like she landed up with an internship in that chamber. So it sometimes gets difficult when you apply your CV, go through it, because honestly, I guess everybody knows this, that there is always a place for a contact in this field, and unless you have one, it's very difficult. So that was how I used to approach. Sometimes for some people, it's like really going against your conscience. Okay, like, okay, I won't go with a contact, I would like to go with my merit. Okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. But then for doing that thing, like to learn and accomplish things, there are certain steps you have to take in the beginning. So those were mine. I had to literally tear it down through, because I couldn't go on my own, because I was not an NLU student. So that was like,
I was an NLU student, so let me tell you my story, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think it is a huge misconception that there is anything wrong with having contacts. I mean, I understand that
yeah,
there are some people who are more lucky that their parents have contacts. Okay, that their parents can introduce them somewhere where they get it.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, okay, they have a certain bit of advantage, but people have advantage in everything. Like some people
yeah,
have some people are richer than you, some people are more intelligent than you, some people are maybe just more charming than you, some people have more contacts than you, and this is the way of life. There's nothing wrong with it or nothing unfair with it, in my opinion. So I'll tell you my story. So, like, my parents have even lesser contacts than I had when I was like a law student. Like, at least I knew few lawyers. They knew no lawyers at all. And not only lawyers, like they were like, they didn't know anybody. They didn't know people in Calcutta also. Forget anything else. And so I knew from the beginning that I have to build my own contacts. I have to have my own network. And it was in my third year of law school. I read a book called Never Eat Alone. Okay, and this is a book on networking. Okay, this is written by a person who comes from a village in USA. Okay, and really rural area where there is no facilities. His father barely managed to send him to school. This person called Keith Ferazi barely managed to send him to school because a charity sponsored him. So he managed to study at that school, and then eventually he went to Harvard, and he became eventually the CIO of McKinsey and Company, right? So it's one of the greatest companies in the world, and to be the CIO at McKinsey is like huge. So, and this person said that and then he finished his job as CIO of McKinsey and he started his own company. And he says, like, basically, his new company is based on training CEOs and CXOs of Fortune 500 companies and like presidents of countries on how to network. Okay, and how to build, like you were saying, build contacts, so how to do it. And if you so after reading that book, I came to the conclusion that this is a skill, this is a resource. So just like you want to save money in the bank and build up your capital, similarly you'd want to build networks over a period of time and it accumulates. And this is something everybody has to do. I mean, group called Network Capital, funnily enough.
yeah, I got you.
Facebook, which is very active and all. But you have to build your resources. Like you now, similarly, you are working on your legal knowledge. You have to work on your network also, your professional network. You are responsible to build it. And if somebody has, let's say, in your case, you're lucky that your father could help you with some of his network capital, that's great. But if somebody doesn't have, it is their job their duty to work on it and build it. And it is not undoable. Nobody said that you cannot build your network. You just have to work on it. You can get meetings, you can meet people, you help them, you build goodwill with them, and they will help you. And I've seen so many students of mine who have, taken actions and then got internships or jobs for that matter. I remember one student of mine in Mumbai, and we teach something called informational interview. So you go and meet, you request lawyers that you may meet at an event or in your college, or they might have come for a lecture anywhere. Like you request them that, I want to become like you, so I want to spend 10 minutes with you, asking you a few questions about, what I should do with my career. Yeah, and usually lawyers don't say no to such a request. They say, okay, 10 minutes, no problem. You come to my office. There was you must have heard of a famous lawyer, Majid Memon. He's one of the most senior, like if there are top 10 criminal lawyers in India, Majid Memon is one of them in Mumbai. And everybody wants to work with Majid Memon. Like there are junior lawyers who have been working for 5 years and they'll be glad to get a place in his chamber. Like that is the kind of reputation he has. And the student of ours, he was studying in Rizvi Law College, and he, so we told him about informational interview, and we told him to do informational interviews in 1 month. Okay, so he did. One of the person he found was Majid Memon. Like, somehow Majid Memon came to his college or in some event. He just requested that, I want to spend 10 minutes with you, ask you a few questions. Say, okay, ask me right now. And he asked, that I want to be a criminal lawyer. What can I do? I am right now, this is what I'm working on. What all things I should be doing. This is what I'm doing. Can I, like, can I have your number? Can I call you once in 6 months and update you about my progress and get some feedback from you as to what else I can do? And he said yes. And after that, he told me that, I'll contact you. And after that, he asked me that, like, I have a vacancy. Would you like to join? Asked for any opportunity. He just went to somebody and asked intelligent questions. And the lawyer saw initiative, the lawyer saw passion, and gave him an opportunity, right? This is what happens. Like, network is not rocket science. It is you meeting people, you talking to them, you helping them, you
You
helping them.
know, that's what I do. And litigation in general is all about networking, and either you get it through your placement cell, either you get it on your own, like you just mentioned, either you get it through your parents, and like whatsoever. As you just mentioned, that it's like a resource. Like that's what also I said that getting a contact, it's like a cherry on the cake. And our field is literally all about networking and everything. You get the clients. How do you get it? You get it through networks. Okay, and if you want to get an internship, you get through networks. You want to get a job, how do you reach people? You talk to them, right? Like you talk to one, second,
Absolutely.
third, fourth. That's how it happens, and it's absolutely, there's nothing wrong. That's what even I wanted to tell few of our viewers who must be in the first year of their law school maybe. So there's nothing wrong in having contacts, merits. Having merits, it's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, diligence is what matters, guys. Like literally, if you're good at your thing, you will pull it through. You will push it through, no matter what. Like even if there are X number of people loaded with contacts, if you have that one thing, diligence, I'm quite sure you'll pull it through. Like it's there. You're there. So
Right.
nobody has to worry about that. And
No,
uh,
it is impossible to succeed as a lawyer without having a network. I don't think anybody ever succeeded as a lawyer without having a network which appreciates him, which refers him work,
you
which
have
is.
to go, you have to talk, you have to meet. That's about lawyering. Like you have to go, you have to meet other lawyers, you have to learn that skill. You're not perfect. Okay, you can't sit with your books all day long. You read judgments, fine. You read those barracks, perfect. But then you need to go out, you need to talk to people, like there there is one instance I would like to share at this point. Like there are two friends of mine. Okay, so they have got that confidence. They're quite bold. So they wanted to land up a job, and they were looking for a job. They are 2 years older to me. So one of them, they were talk. There was a public prosecutor arguing in the court, and they found him really good. Like his arguing skills, drafting, juniors, everybody is like perfect. So they, after the guy was, Mr. Prosecutor was done with his case, He goes out of the court. Both of my friends run for him, talk to him. I don't know what did they do in those 5 minutes. They got the job. They didn't show him the CV. They didn't show him any research, no writing, nothing. And they got him. Like, I was shocked. So that is very important. If you have that skill, that communication skill is, it's
I think
perfect.
50% of the work is to show up. What happened is that these people actually
Yes.
showed up in front of this person and said, "Sir, I really appreciate your work, and we want to work with you." Even saying that, it works, right? So I'll just give you an example. We get so many internship applications. I don't process them myself, but today somebody sent me an email saying that, "Sir, I appreciate your work, and I have read these articles, and I want to intern directly with you. I don't want to intern in your office. I want to work directly with you. I want in the month of August." So, normally I would just forward all these emails to my internship team, but I replied because this person took interest in me and said something, and so I owe him an answer. So I said, I am not available in this month, and I'll be traveling most of the time, but you apply on so and so month if you are available, you can apply. And that is what happens. See, like if you approach people in the right way, if you are, if you do it right, if it is, there are a lot of people who just randomly sends me one liner emails saying that, "Sir, I want intern." Now I'm not going to reply to that, but when somebody has taken time
Show
to,
that extra effort. That's what you are talking about. Like, you have to know the organization. Like, I'll tell you something. Like, my first internship was under the senior advocate. So, at, like, just looking at me, anybody, any senior advocate would say a no. That, okay, you are in your first year, why are you coming to me? And that too, she used to work back then as a senior advocate in the Supreme Court of India. So it was quite difficult. That's why I had to talk to my father and tell him that, I want to go to the court, I want to see people arguing, I want to look at the judge pronouncing judgments, I want to, look, go and intern under a chamber or something. So I had to approach my father in that case. But then I would like to tell you here that there were other internships which I got on my own too.
yeah,
Like, Law Octopus was a website which came to my assistance because these people used to, upload internship experiences where other law students used to share email IDs, and then I also used to pursue some advocates on LinkedIn also. So these were two primary, networking resources which I used in order to get internships back when I was a law student. And then otherwise, like, the running internship for 2 years, which I did, that internship I landed up on my own. Actually, my internship supervisor, I had worked with her before. So she had liked my work back then, and I had approached on my own, sent her my CV, one application stating that, I'm interested to work under her and all. So I got my running internship, and the place where I landed up a job today. I was a part of a mock trial competition conducted by my college. So he came as a judge. He looked at my work, and then that's how it went on. We talked about job prospects and all, and that's how it works. It just works. You just have to take that one step. That, okay, I'm interested. Can I get a job? It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong to talk about internships, talk about jobs, because internships as well as jobs, along with studies, are learning experiences. Like, you keep learning till you die. You, even if it's internship, you learn there,
if a
you
more
learn.
senior person who is a young person taking interest in working, very serious, very is taking initiative to do things, is very energetic. These are the things that people look for in young lawyers. So those
Exactly.
things, when you showcase that, and you show initiative, you show interest, you show that you really want to do something, you have real interest in something. Problem is, a lot of people fake it. Faking is
Yeah.
not good enough. That gets
Yeah.
exposed. Like you apply to an energy law firm and say, "I have been interested in energy law all my life." but in your CV there is nothing about energy. There's one article you have written on energy. So that's not going to cut it, right? They'll be like, what are you saying? So people don't like that. When you are being inauthentic, when you are like, trying to, maybe, skirt around the truth, that people don't like. But when you are giving a realistic picture, you're being upfront, you're being honest, and you're being direct also is fine. Like you be appropriate and you be polite and you
That's true.
take
That's
into account the convenience of the other person and show emotional maturity, show maturity in your communication. People will definitely give you opportunity. Okay, so
that's
I want to, yeah, sure. Tell me what you're saying.
And there's another thing to that, like, when you start off, even if you say, anything about yourself, like people like to know about yourself, when you start with an internship. So they like to know what your skills are and everything. That's a prerequisite, when you apply for an internship, and that's when while you apply, you will be called for an interview, they will talk to you, everything happens. But then, when you start interning, a week goes, 2 week goes, 3 weeks pass by, a month goes by. After that, the person who under whom you are interning, he or she will be able to weigh like what all truth, what all is the truth, what are the lies and everything. So like you said that one has to be really honest with his or her skills when when you intern, so the other person will get to know eventually, need not even lie about it, the other person will get to know. And litigation is that, it's that branch of that tree which is, it's tough, it's tough, but it's not impossible. And but all I need to say right now is that, have diligence and have that willpower, everything will work on pretty quickly. And just keep working and get hold of networking, like show up, go talk, be bold, and you will eventually land up with something or the other, at least a learning experience. Even if the person is offering you an internship for 2 weeks, or even he or she is calling you for a week, just go and look. Like, even if you're not getting an internship, I'll tell you something. There, like 2 3 months back, I was in my college, and actually the best part of our college is that in fourth and fifth year we used to go to college from 8 to 11. So rest of the day used to be free. That was the time which we usually keep for running internship. That was the best part of the college at that point of time. So from 11 till 4 I was free. What to do? So I used to go to the courts and listen to the judges. And you look at the cause list, you will pretty much get the hang of the cases which will be, in front of the judge. Like, they are categorized that way. So you go, you sit, you listen to both the parties arguing, and the orders are also uploaded on the internet. So you can keep following the matters also that way. So 1 week I just went to the court straight up, Patiala House, because at that point of time I had no lawyer to work with. Like, I was not working anywhere. So Patiala House doesn't need a pass, unlike High Court does. So I went to Patiala House, went for a week, and that experience in itself is also very much enriching. Even if you're not interning anywhere, you can't keep going to the court for a month sitting there listening to people. But then for a week I tried it just to look at it, like how
I
it
think
did
that's a great
from.
idea. If you go to the court regularly, you'll meet
Yeah.
so many lawyers there. You will not even
That's
without
why
it.
that's why I used to go to the court. That, okay, I look at people, I talk to, because see, the thing was, I interned under that advocate on record for 2 years, and she was into civil litigation, commercial civil litigation. And I wanted to switch to criminal law since I was, pretty much sure by the end of my fifth year that I want to pursue criminal law as my, career path. So I had to switch. Now the problem with me was that I had that 2 years of experience, civil litigation. So I was like, okay, now let's see how to go about it. And my prerogative at that point of my the prerequisite at that point of time was that I wanted a lawyer who used to practice in the district court, the trial court, because that's how the criminal law starts. You need to know it from the root. So I went to the court. I used to meet a lot of lawyers, there. I used to go there every day, meet lawyers, meet people, sit with them, talk to them. They used to chat for hours. But I got internships under them also. That way also I got an internship like for a week or 2 weeks. I just wanted to try because before landing up with a job there, I wanted to know how the office works, how the people are, what kind of cases this person gets. So that my that checklist matches with his. So that was my aim at that point of time, that's what I can do then. And you also get to know things pretty much from a judge's perspective, and it is very much important to understand the judge before you understand the laws. So when I used to go to the court, I used to go to the court of Snigdha Sarvaria. Miss Snigdha Sarvaria, I used to go there. And she had some criminal cases at that point of time. So I used to attend those as well. And there were other sessions judge, additional sessions judge. So I used to keep swapping every day. Like I didn't used to go to same court every day, like for a week. No. Like first day I used to go to civil court, then some day to the PC courts, the Prevention of Corruption Act one, then NIA or something like that. Like I used to pick up for this is the topic which I want to know more. So I just go to X court or Y court because I want to know about it even more, like how the courts work, how the procedure works basically. So I used to do that for a week and a half. I did this. So that's how also I got internships. So that's another way that you can go to the courts and do that. Like chambers are also there. You can talk to people. A lot of things can be done once you enter into the court.
People don't take initiative at this time. Everybody is kind of, that we give them some opportunity, and that's a huge now.
I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying that there is this huge problem that a lot of law students do not take the initiative of this skill, right? The fact
Yeah,
that I'm not getting an internship, no problem. I'm going to go to the court and listen to what is happening, and then eventually I'll come across a lawyer who will give me an internship
yeah.
in the court, right? So this kind of confidence and this kind of initiative, it's not even a matter of confidence, it's more a matter of initiative that I'm going to do it. So that
Yeah,
is very much necessary. And if you tell a lawyer that I'm not getting an internship, so I just come to the court and sit and listen to the proceedings, they'll be very impressed because they know that this is what is the thing to do. Even lawyers want to sit in the court and listen all day and learn. And if you are already doing it, then they know that you're really ahead of everybody, and they'll be happy to, give you an internship. Internship is a small thing when it comes to that. So tell us more about your long-term internship. Why did you decide to do, like, usually we see that a lot of law students say that I don't want to intern in one place for too long. I want to intern for 15 days here and 15 days there and 15 days in another place. uh, like literally there are 15 people apply for 2 week internships even to us, and we reject all of it because there's nothing somebody can learn in 2 weeks, nor can we benefit in any way whatsoever from somebody who's just coming for 2 weeks. So it's not worth our time, and we don't. And most other law firms and any people, I mean, I know there are law firms which give you 2 week internships, big law firms like Shardul Amachar Mangaldas
yes,
gives you
yes,
2 week,
yes.
but that's very rare. I think most people wouldn't like that. Plus, even then, people do 1 month internship. They don't even want to do a 2 month internship because they want to intern in 10 different places. Now, what do you think about that? Why did you intern in one place for 2 years? You have interned in a lot of places too, but there was one particular situation where you interned for so long. What's the reason?
So I'll tell you about that. Actually, litigation. See, I had worked with two, three lawyers before that for understand how litigation works. Like from the from outside how it works. But then at that point of time, I wanted to also know how do these people file the documents, how the documents used to reach the judge, how is the filing done, what is an affidavit, how the affidavits are prepared, what is a wakalatnama. I didn't know anything at all in my, I guess, second or third year. So we read everything on the paper, like in the Bare Act. But then I wanted to know how this thing actually is practiced. And then I thought that also, I want to learn how the things are done on the paper, like when it goes before the court, how it's being done. See, with due respect to the moot courts, I didn't find them as a futile exercise. I never did. Like I tried to, go ahead with it, but then I never found them a futile exercise because for one reason that the drafting which moot courts, ask for, these are not the way real courts are. Real court documents are drafted. So I wanted to learn that real thing, the real drafting, how the documents are being drafted in the court of law.
I think you're bang on that point, and we keep saying this to a lot of people also that moot court is a great activity and it is highly glamorized in law school.
I don't have any issue with moot courts that way. The only issue is drafting. Research perfect.
If you look at it overall, Prachi, what happens is that people think, oh, I am doing a mock court or I'm doing like something which is like a court. If I am doing well, it's nice. It's just a game. Moot
Yeah.
court is a game. Okay, it's like a child's play. It's not court. It's not lawyering. It's like, ठीक है. It's like बच्चों को खेलने दो types. And that is all it is good for. And it's nice to kind of
Win those prizes, get those medals, and everything is good. But when you go into the real court, when you see how the judge conducts the criminal trial, how the cross and chief happens there, when you see how the civil trials happen, you will shiver. You'll shiver and you'll get the shock of your life. Oh my God, what is this going on?
Yeah, like moot court, people think that moot court somewhere prepares them for real court, but that is like a huge misconception. It doesn't prepare you for anything. It prepares you. Yeah, it's nice to build your presentation skills. Okay, like okay, it helps you to build like confidence to stand before people and speak about like and think on your feet. That kind of experience is all right. I mean, okay, it's better than doing nothing. But I think if you give me an option of, if you ask me that is it better to do a criminal moot court, even the best, maybe BCI moot or something, India's most highly rated moot. Okay, that, and you give me another option that spend 7 days in a court listening to the arguments. What is going to be more educational?
The latter one.
What is absolutely
Do that. Do the real stuff, yeah. Matlab, don't go for this artificial. Due respect to moot courts, like whosoever is listening is a moot court fan. I'm not, and I'm not.
moot courts. I have done moot courts, right? I have nothing against moot
I
courts.
also have done a moot court, okay, but that moot court, I became a part of that mock trial because it was quite near to being a realistic criminal court competition because we had to do everything from bottom to top exactly like how a real court does. That's why I participated in the mock
I
trial.
did Surana and Surana trial moot. Okay.
Okay.
Now, so this is a trial moot where you have to do cross examination, you have to do examination in and all of that. But it's nothing realistic. Like they try to make it as realistic as possible.
You
but
have to do everything in a day. That's not how it happens in the real court. Like it's being dragged before the court.
it is not just about a day. The point is that the skills that you need to do the moot court competition are very different than the skills you need to actually win a case or argue a case in the court. The problem is that people get confused. They think that they are building the right skills when they start winning moot court competitions or start doing well in moot court competitions. They think that this is what they need, but that is a misguided thing. So as soon as you start going to courts, even doing internships, you figure that out. But a lot of people don't. What I'm trying to say is that if you enjoy mooting, like some people enjoy football, you should
Yeah.
do that. But it is not like that your career's foundation is going to be built up on moot courts.
Exactly.
That is a misconception. There are people who say that, there are people who will advise you so, but it
Yes.
is wrong. I mean, that is not the best. If you
For
have 1 year left,
for me, moot court is like that practice match. Okay, like जितनी बार घायल होना है हो जाएगी, ठीक है. But when you go outside the court, you have to break everything down. It's like that. Okay, it increases your analytical skills. It tests your awareness, like how aware your mind is. That is one of the advantages of moot courts. I don't have issues with that. I just had issues with
if I
drafting and netball.
Ludo, 1 second, if you play Ludo or you play chess, that also perhaps helps you to think of strategy or you
Yeah,
know
we can, but then that doesn't include the
it is very
application of law, no. So,
application of law, that's very doubtful. I have seen people winning moot courts and doing very well because they are good orators. Okay, it's not
that's
necessary.
there.
It
But
is
then
like
yeah, there is another thing that research skills develop. That's for sure. That's another advantage. And see, there is one more thing why moot courts were introduced. That in your first year of law, everybody is pretty much passionate about courts, arguments. Oh, I want to do this. I'm Harvey Specter. I'm Mike Ross. I'll do this. I'll do that. People are pretty much energetic about it. If these the first year people are literally they watch suits and they get all energetic that's how a court operates. Mind you, it doesn't. But then moot courts give opportunity to these first, second, third year people to that's what I said. No, it's like that practice match.
it's a
It
nice
gives you a
game,
platform.
nice game for kids to
That's it.
play. Yeah, it's a nice game for kids to play, and it's something that may develop some of the skills. But in the end of the day, you need to
Yeah, so you are right that ways that that's just not only one determinative point.
internship in one place for long enough. What did you see the difference? Like if I do 10 different
Yeah.
internships over 2 years, or I do one internship for 2 years, right? What's the
Yeah.
major difference that you see?
See, yes, that's a very nice question. Like I'll tell you the difference that I saw. Like I used to do internships after every semester ended. So it was a 1 month internship because we used to get a month and a half for as an internship break. So we couldn't do more than that. So it always used to be a 1 month internship, but we couldn't learn that much in those times. Why? Number one, either we used to do internships during December or during May and June. And usually at that time, courts used to be closed. So all we used to do was sit in the office and work at that point of time. So never used to get that much into the courts. So that was the time when we used to spend in internships. Pretty much unlucky at that time. But then didn't get that much of exposure. You won't get that much of exposure in 1 month. Like you'll get drafting, you'll get research, no issues. But then the exposure you get if you work under one person, okay, and for a huge amount of time, the exposure you get, the way your skills get refined, there's a huge difference. I, for a fact, would like to state here that for 2 years when I was working under the Advocate on Record, I used to get the files. I used to draft. I used to research. I was, included from filing till the disposal, which was the best thing. Like I used to sit, attend the client conferences. Like that's how the matter begins at first. You sit with the client, discuss the matter, then you collect all the documents, see what all is there in the case, research, you draft, you go, you file, you argue in the court, and you wait till the judgment is done and over. So in those 2 years of time, I did that with a lot of cases. Like I was involved from client conferences till the disposal of the matter, which was the best thing. Because if you get to see the life of a civil or a criminal case, that's the best thing you get to learn through running internships, guys, because in 1 month you are not going to see, the filing or the disclosure. I was lucky enough that there were few cases in which we used to, see how the suit or a criminal complaint used to get disposed of. And another thing is that to apart from that, I also got to know a lot more things. Like, best thing was cause lists. Okay, like as an intern, as a freshman, okay, you won't get what are cause lists. I never knew was rooster was, okay, these jargons of the courts. Like, I
Yeah.
never used to get it. That okay, what is a cause list? Okay, cause list is this happens. How many types of causes? In Supreme Court you will get a lot of cause lists. High Court has two kind of cause lists.
So I would say that, to in a gist, that when you are regularly going to an internship, you start
Yeah.
becoming a part of the system. So you start learning, more of the environment in a way that a lawyer starts learning.
That's true. Exactly my point. That's what I was trying to explain. That you are an intern, but you become like a lawyer. Like, the feeling is good, the work is good, everything is perfect, like on point. But then the thing is, that's what I said. No, exposure is good. When you work for long, you get a lot of time. You get, a lot of things to do at that point of time. So I used to go to the courts. I used to go and file documents, attend the client meetings, follow ups. Then used to also go and fix up meetings in the senior advocates chambers and all, because you know how an advocate on record works. I also got to know about that. Who all are there in the legal industry? Who all to contact to? If a senior advocate specializes in energy law, if a senior advocate specializes in banking laws. So I started to know who is good for what. I never used to know about that.
Basically, what you are saying is that what people learn when they start practicing. So there are two choices. One is that you can do short and small internships in a lot of different places, and you will be an intern, like, somebody outsider to the firm or outsider to the chamber who comes and spends some time and goes away, does some small research work, some reading, some little bit of drafting maybe, but hardly any real work. And you go away after 1 month, and that's the end of it. But if you stay in the chamber for a long period, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 year, like you did, then
Yeah.
what happens is that you start getting the same experience that a lawyer would normally get,
True.
right?
Yes.
And like we hear this a lot, that to become a good lawyer in a court you have to spend 5 years, 6 years, maybe 10 years. But when you start doing this when you are a law student, and you start doing it in your third year, fourth year, fifth year, and you
Yeah.
start spending that much time in the lawyer's chamber, then
Yeah.
there are two benefits. One is that the pressure is much lower when you actually.
Exactly, exactly. That's the best part about running internship, that the pressure is really low. You
Yes,
need not be
but one point I just want to make before I ask you again. It's like that. What happens is that you are getting the same experience that a lawyer is going to get when
yes,
they are joining after graduation,
yes,
and they are putting those initial years. But if
yes,
you start doing that when you are a law student and haven't graduated, you are yet to graduate after 3 years or 2 years, and you put in that kind of time in a lawyer's chamber or even a law firm. By the way, I've spoken to in An Hour with LawSikho itself with other lawyers who are now partners in big law firms and principal associates in big law firms. They also said the same thing. Go to a law firm and start doing a long internship, and it's the same story that you become a part of the system. You become a part of. They start treating you like very much like one of their associates or their lawyers, and that way you are developing yourself much faster, much earlier. And this is a really, I mean, I have nothing against moot courts. I'm just saying that this is this bits like moot courts 100 times over, doing
yes.
this.
Moot courts
And
also, as you just said, that they make you good orators. That's true. That's actually true, because when you go and intern, you go for running internships, you won't get that. Like you won't be allowed to speak before any judge at all, right? Because you're not there yet. But then yes, moot courts allow you, they give you that scope that
Yeah,
you
so
go
the point
ahead.
of this
So
conversation is not
that's
to
like,
bash moot courts or to approve of moot courts. All I'm saying is that this practical experience will any day will beat at doing a moot court, because what happens is that people spend a good 1 year trying to do well in a moot court, and they spend, like, their energy and effort disproportionately into a moot court, which is the only issue. There, otherwise, if you take it like a any other college
yes.
co-curricular activity, it's fine. But it's not. What I'm saying is that if you want to do one thing that's going to build your career, just simple. I'm asking you, okay? Let's say you are in your you just gotten into your fifth year, and you have 1 year to go, and you don't know what you're going to do, or you don't have a job. You need to get a job when you graduate. Okay, maybe let's make it more difficult. Let's say you are not from Delhi, you are from a different tier 2 city, and you want to make a career in Delhi. So you have to pay your rent, you have to pay for yourself from your own earnings. Now, if this is the situation, right, Prachi, then you have 1 year left. What are you going to advise what are you going to do? Are you going to do moot courts, or are you going to go and intern like this? That's the bottom line.
See, that's a very difficult situation because I have seen a lot of friends of mine who have been through a similar situation. But then I would like to suggest at that point of time that you see, it's all about survival after you end your law school, okay? So don't, till third year, I would suggest, literally till third year, do all the moot courts that you want to do, take all of the experience that you want to. But after fourth year, after third year, just start getting into internships.
Yeah, be
And
very serious about it basically, and do some long term.
And one thing I want to clarify here, that you talked about money right now, that you have to spend you have to spend on yourself, you have to pay for your accommodation, you have to pay yeah, like you have to take care of your expenses basically. See, if we talk about litigation, that is a hard thing to do, take care of your expenses, because a freshman doesn't get more than 10K. So litigation is a tough place to be with when you talk about being, out of town, being in Delhi, for example, all on your own, away from your home. So that's a tough thing to do at that point of time. 10,000 isn't something that you will be able to survive with. You would at least need double or triple amount than that. So I would suggest that at that point of time, go to a law firm or join some in-house. Do that because they pay off really well. So litigation plus that combination, litigation, living outside the city, and you have to take care of your expenses also. That's a tough thing to do to begin with. So I would suggest that 1 year which you have got, okay, just start applying everywhere. Okay, just scrutinize first of all what you want.
I mean,
Okay,
I
in
just
this
want to
case,
say something here. Applying everywhere doesn't really work. What works is that you focus on a certain practice area, or on a certain
yeah,
few
apply
lawyers.
everywhere. I meant that you catch hold. That's what I said. No, you scrutinize, chalk out a plan, that what all I need, where to go. Like I wanted to pursue a criminal lawyer, so I made a list like who all should I go to, or where should I, how do I pursue it. So you apply wherever you can at that point of time, because 1 year is less amount of time sometimes for some people, like since it's very uncertain, you might even get a job in a month, you might even not get in 6 months, 7 months, or stay a
The
year.
chance of you getting a job, if you have done a good job for 1 year, then your
Yeah,
chance of getting a job
yeah,
is very.
that gives you a very good chance that if you do a running internship under somebody, so that gives you that heads up for that. So that's a
I
nice thing to
want
do.
to share
So
a
don't
story here. Since we have
okay.
spoken so much about it, I want to share one story of one of my students. So this person is from Ghaziabad, and
Okay.
he did his college from also, like, law college in Ghaziabad. I don't remember the name of the college. I mean, no
Okay.
disrespect, but just that I have never heard of this college before, and I don't remember the name of the college at this point. So certainly his alumni cannot help him. His college background doesn't help him.
Okay.
What happened is that he started doing intern. He did one in good internship, and he got recommended to another internship. And this internship is an arbitration internship that he did for 1 year, right?
Yeah.
So last year he did this one internship. Now what happens is that when you are good, okay, and you start doing well, then your boss doesn't want to lose you because you
That's
are a valuable resource. So
become an asset. Yeah.
they feel responsible that, and these are rich lawyers, right? None of them have any problems with money. Their issue is that they don't want to like bring in some greenhorn person who have no idea as to what to do, thinks the world of himself or herself. On top of that, you have to train that person and pay. It is difficult. It's not doesn't make sense. How many people will you do this for? But if somebody is in your chamber doing a fantastic job, and for 6 months they work without pay, perhaps, right? And then you start paying them a stipend. Like they pay 10,000 when even when he's a student, he was getting paid 10, 15,000.
I would like to interrupt you here, sorry, but not all the lawyers will pay you. Like
So
they,
not all pay you, but what I'm saying is that also you have to
if
see
you
what.
work for a longer, even if you work for a longer period of time, there are many lawyers who won't pay you at all. Like I have also come across a lot of lawyers, like where you land up a job for 8 to 7 months, they won't give you anything. So that also happens. So
So
there are
that also happens, Prachi. I agree with you. What I'm trying to say is that if the money is important for you, you need to identify the right lawyers, and you can easily find out. You can easily find out, who are the lawyers who are paying their juniors, who are not. And there are a lot of fair lawyers who are very happy to pay a fair sum of to their juniors, and you can find out. The other juniors only tell you whether the lawyer pays or not. So it's not difficult to find out. And of course, if you do I'm just saying one story. This is not like that it happens, this happens to everyone. But what happened is that this person is really good. He put his heart and soul and did a really great job. He was not looking, I want to learn. He was trying to help the lawyer, right? And he made sure that the lawyer is dependent on him after 1 year. Like that's pretty much how it is. And when then he just said, "Sir, I want to continue working, but I can't. I have graduated. My parents are not supporting me anymore." That's what he said to the lawyer, and I have to go back to Ghaziabad. The lawyer said, "What do you need? You just rent a house here and stay. I'll pay you. I'll give you a job." Right? And that's how simple it is, because lawyers earn a good amount of money if they have good experience. They're earning 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs. But their problem is that they don't have good juniors. Like the way we say that, there are no good lawyers, nobody's paying. Lawyers will say that there are no good juniors. It is so difficult to work with anybody. They don't understand. They don't understand my style. They don't understand this. They don't understand that. But if somebody is understanding and doing that work that he needs regularly, I know so many lawyers who are ready to give drafting work, outsourcing drafting work to junior lawyers who can draft well. They'll pay 4,000 per draft. That is the situation, right? So there are young lawyers who are doing their own practice, and to support, they don't have enough clients. So what they do is that they do drafting of petitions for or applications for other lawyers who have too much to draft and they don't have time. And I
yeah.
know lawyers pay 4,000, 5,000, somebody pays 2,000 per draft. Now that isn't that really fantastic? And I'm just saying that there is enough work. What is needed is skill. You should bring some skill into the game. You should bring some diligence. You should bring some ability, capability. You cannot be like, the problem with the young generation of lawyer is that we think that we know stuff already. We think that we already have arrived, and we get this. Now people should pay us, but that expectation is misplaced, I think. But when you actually genuinely bring a good quality work, you get appreciated. That's my experience.
That is also true. And then there are a lot of people, who after doing running internships also get that overconfidence that, okay, I know everything now. I have worked under XYZ lawyer for this amount of time. I know everything. I am above everybody. A lot of people tend to have that attitude after a point of time, which is wrong. Because everybody, including you, even if one is X person is doing a running internship and Y is not, both of them are equal at that point of time because everybody is learning. And okay, you have done a running internship, you have got a hang of things, you have just seen it, like, what should I say, 3 or 4%. You are still not there because you haven't got the license, you haven't even graduated, you are still a child who is learning. Okay, who is again, going for that practice match, as I said before as well. So that thing is there. Even as even pursuing a running internship, that thing is there, that you are still learning. So don't think that you'll get everything. Like, a lot of people I know, a lot of friends whom I know who talk about running internships, they say that, okay, we want to go for running internship. Why? Because we would know everything. No, you won't know everything, but you would know something of that everything. That's all I want to say at that point of time.
You some sort of advantage over your peers. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's there. Advantages are numerous, like they're innumerable. You will get to know what kind of water you are stepping into. That's a good thing that you know what you're going into. But don't think that you would know everything. It's like it's endless. It's limitless. So, like, I have seen
It's
30,
just a good start. It's just a good start, and there is a lot more to be done.
exactly, and it's nothing wrong to have that experience also, because you would know in what environment you would be. You would anticipate once you start interning and all. And also, I wanted to talk about the most important thing: internships, running internships, and colleges. See, how I went about it was, as I mentioned earlier as well, my college hours were 8 to 11 usually. So from 11 till the end of the evening, I had a lot of time. So I could do a lot of things. So that's how I pursued internships. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's how I pursued internships. And it's difficult to handle both the things. And it was quite difficult for me because attending the college till 11, then running to the court or to the office, working there, it used to be very tiring up some days. But then as I started on my college life, you have to have that diligence, you have to have that willpower, that you will be able to peer it through. You have to be hardworking, you have to be really hardworking, you have to prepare yourself that you have to work for long hours. But I would also like to say that don't go hard on yourself. Try to balance college as well as internships, but give more preference to college also. Like, if you are in a dilemma that I should go to the college today or I should complete the draft which my senior has given to me, because my replacement offer depends on what kind of work I'll be giving to my senior. But please remember that if you don't go to college, if you don't learn, if you don't get grades, not grades, but if you don't get the passing score, okay, you are not going to graduate. So please make sure that you are able to give that satisfactory amount of time, that minimal time, that you are able to get the degree, and then you practice with that person. So create that balance, okay, and pay little bit attention to your studies as well, and go and work under go and intern as well. So you have to be really cautious about your choices, because one day you'll wake up, you'll be like, okay, I have my, like, this happened with me. Like, I had to draft something and I had to go to college as well. But then my internship supervisor was quite considerate. She used to let me go, and okay, you go and attend your lecture and then you come back. So you have to give that preference to college. Like, you owe it to them. It's there. You have to go and attend the classes. You have to maintain that 75%. You have to take that test. So don't miss out on that. That's what I wanted to say primarily, because running internships take a lot of time. energy, effort. You might, some days will come when you get so tired. It's very exhausting too sometimes. But then you have to be hardworking, you have to be consistent. That's the thing. So that's how I kept it up in my fourth and fifth year of law college. So that's how I kept it going.
So I think that is very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing your
Yeah.
insights. We have some questions, but those questions have already been answered by you. Uh,
Okay.
so I mean, it is exactly this question: how to cope up with the pressure. Surabhi with the last, how to cope up with the pressure of law school along with a running internship. It becomes too tedious. Yes, it becomes tedious, Surabhi, but you have to do it
But
because
if you have made your choice, you have to do it. You have to carve your path. And I'm telling you, it's not just law. Every field is pretty much about diligence and hard work, guys. Because
law especially. So if you want to be a
no,
lawyer, then
exactly, because we are into it. You also know this for a fact that you need to do it. Karna hi hai. You don't. It's like do or die situation. So you can't back off.
it's not easy. Like if you see the most successful lawyers in the country, they have tremendous energy, they have tremendous work ethics. They are like they are doing more work than maybe like people 20 years younger than them cannot do. I mean, that's the hallmark of success of a lawyer, running from one court to another court, at getting briefed at 2 o'clock in the morning. So if you can't do that, then you cannot be a great lawyer. And I'm sure there are other lawyers who don't do that,
When
and they
you are, yes, you are right. And when you are in college, pressure is that pressure is nothing. Like that pressure is really nothing. When I look back, at or the time when I used to intern, the pressure was nothing. The compared to not like it's what should I say? I don't even have words. It's like in negative.
I say that
But
when you're in college, all the things you do are like sandbox compared to
you were in a comfort zone.
yeah.
Everything was served you on a platter. But now, after you graduate, you have to do everything on your own. You are entering into a real world. The pressure I face as a junior associate here, not that my boss pressurizes me to work that much, but then I have to do my best, right? Because I'm being paid.
Now the
I have to
profession,
do my best. I'm a professional now. So back to my days when I was an intern, pressure has increased, of course, but you have to make yourself strong and tough that you can withstand that pressure.
so the whole reason people want to be a lawyer is because maybe they get. I ask this question to a lot of people, and they say that either because they're going to make a lot of money as a lawyer, or
Yeah,
because lawyers are powerful, or because they find it very glamorous that lawyers are saving somebody's life, or like soul and arguing in the court.
yeah,
Now the price you pay for that is real hard work,
exactly.
tremendous work ethics, extreme level of discipline, ability to work for hours and hours and hours without stopping. And if you do not have that, you will not succeed. Or very unlikely. I can't say who's not going to succeed, but very tough to succeed in legal profession without that kind of skill.
Even my internship supervisor also, she was a junior under a senior advocate at that point of time. So Mr. Mr. Subramaniam. So Mr. Gopal Subramaniam. So the way she used to tell me was he used to wake up at 4 and he used to hold his conferences at 6 a.m. in the morning. At 6 a.m. in the morning, and he used to work all day, all night. There was there was no time to go to the bed. After the work was done, that was his bedtime. So that is how it's supposed, that is how law is, like that's how industry operates. You have got a lot of work. You If you think that money will come easy, lawyering will come easy, it's never that. It's never that. And huge lawyers don't become a huge lawyer that easy. Nothing will come that easy. You need to have those skills in you. You need to sharpen your skills. You need to put in a lot of effort. You need to put in a lot of time into it. And then best thing is curiosity. Just keep that with you all the time. So that's that.
Great. That's great advice. We have one more question. Bharat
Yeah.
Bhushan Bharadwaj is asking, which company is best for law internship? I mean,
Which
which company is best for law internship?
companies? Okay, so that's a question which I don't have a on point answer about that though, because I have just interned under a company
I'll give
once.
a general answer. If you want to intern in companies, then look for companies which have an in-house legal team and apply
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's
And,
there.
and there is
There
no
are
best company. So there are companies in the tech industry, there are companies in the
okay, so
media industry, there are
he's
manufacturing
asking something like these Amarchand Mangaldas and sort of that, right? Like
So these are
in
law
law
firms. I
firms,
think he's asking
Ketan,
about
Amarchand, and all are big firms, and in companies, what are the good companies to be where
so
they can go in
one
terms?
second. What I'm saying is that you're talking about law firms, but I think he's asking about companies with legal in-house teams. So because law firms are not companies, law firms are different
Yeah,
companies.
I know. I was just drawing a
Analogy.
parallelism, yeah. So maybe he's saying that companies may, which is the best company to intern under, like we have for law firms, no? So I get that. But see, I have just interned under Hindustan Times and it was one of the best experiences I had. So I can recommend that for sure. Since I don't have that much experience about in-house counsels that much, I just did one internship, so I can't really answer that. I can just tell you that Hindustan Times was a very good experience for me, and like I really got to know that okay, media laws are not for me. That was one thing, and then another thing was that that in-house is probably not what I want to go ahead with. So that was that.
I will give a quick answer, Prachi, to the
Yeah,
question. So basically, there is no specific. I'm addressing Bharat Bhushan. So there is no specific company which is the best company to work at. There
yeah,
are different companies in different sectors. There are people who are like there are companies in the manufacturing sector. Now there are companies which pay very good salary and very good perks. So there are companies like Google, Facebook. These are technology companies which have a lot of money. So they treat their employees very well. Similarly, there are companies like HUL in manufacturing and retail, and there are a lot of other companies as well. Uh, and right now, the in-house sector is booming because
yeah.
uh, law firms kind of are not hiring so much, but companies are hiring in-house lawyers. They're finding it easier and better and more cost-effective to hire in-house lawyers and build in-house legal teams. So kind of a lot of jobs have been shifting into the in-house sector. So when we were graduating, there were not so many jobs in the in-house legal sector, but right now in-house companies are hiring a whole lot of lawyers. If that is something that interests you, then pick companies and apply. And there's no specific best companies, but it's a good sector right now. Is all right.
Also, there is no nothing such companies existing as best companies. But then, what I think is essentially you as I said before, also you should scrutinize and prepare a checklist of your own. And if any other company fits that checklist, that will be the best company for you to work. It's quite subjective, like we should stop becoming a part of that rat race. Okay, I want to pursue that company, I want to pursue that law firm, I want to pursue that lawyer. No, just stop doing it. First know what you need, what kind of recruiter, what kind of boss you need, what kind of work you need, because mind you, work is what will keep you with the person, organization, or whatever. Okay, the organization won't keep you running for long. The work will keep you running for long. So just try to know what all you would need. That's what I also did for 3 years in the beginning. I tried to know what I wanted, what kind of work I wanted. So that's how I kept going about it. So that's what you should do. And of course, as you said, that there is nothing as best company, that's true. So one should, sit, just research everything about companies, law firms, whatever interests you. You should know your personal interest as well with respect to legal fields, and then you should think about it, chalk your plans and everything. That's what I think.
Great. I think that's fantastic advice, very wise. And now,
Yeah.
we have to wrap this up. It's already 9:15.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody whoever watched us today, and do subscribe to the LawSikho channel so that you keep getting notifications for all the other videos. We do this 8 to 9 p.m. every weekday. And even if you miss a certain video, you can watch it later. Make sure you subscribe to LawSikho. And Prachi, thank you so much for joining us today and taking your time off from work. And
Anytime, anytime. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
thank you. And we definitely hope to have you again in the future talking
Yes,
about more other issues
for
like
sure.
law and everything. Maybe you can teach us some criminal law next time.
Oh, thank you so much, for sure. Sometime in the future, of course.
Yeah. And okay, so thank you everybody. Have a great night and see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. again. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye.